Holy crap, I'm not dead! If anyone watching this video has been wondering where I've been and why I haven't been making videos if you watch my channel regularly, I've been busy with college and I've been busy with my own film work, but after I saw this movie, I thought I'd had to make a review for it. I don't know if I'll ever get back into making reviews regularly, but I really wanted to make a review of this movie and sort of change up the formula of how I do videos. So I decided my video that I'm gonna do is on an indie movie that no one would care about unless you're a fan of Ralphthemoviemaker, which is a great idea for a video, isn't it? Alright, let's just get into this review.
Good, got it, great, good.
The movie I'm going to be talking about for this video is called Lover. It's an indie film currently on VOD that was written, directed by, and stars Ralph Seppi of the popular YouTube channel Ralph the Movie Maker. The Ralph the Movie Maker channel is one that's close to my heart, and it's had a huge influence on the stuff that I used to do on YouTube. He's basically the newer version of Nostalgia Critic's older videos. He has a similar style to that, but he's way better than Nostalgia Critic might have ever been. He goes in depth and makes fun of bad films in a very comedic fashion while intertwining skits and showing off his filmmaking ability. He's incredibly funny and has a very knowledgeable insight on film, and I always really enjoyed his content. Eventually, at some point in early 2017, after browsing through his videos, I came across a short 40-minute movie called King Candy that he made while he was in high school. The movie blew my mind after I saw it. It combined comedy with extremely dark, twisted themes, and it had a lot of really good actors, props, locations, and it had really thought-provoking themes. Again, this is all something he made while he was in high school, and it's much better than most movies that come out in the theater today. It has a bit of a feel of an Edgar Wright movie, but then it gets really dark, like I said. He even acted in the movie himself as the lead part in the movie, and he's really good in it. King Candy and Ralph's content in general was one of my big pushers to make the short films I've been making today, because it makes me feel like I could make a great film with no budget, because he just made this in high school. It made me feel like I could do anything, even though I'm not anywhere near Ralph's level of multi-talent. After watching King Candy and being so blown away, I continued browsing his stuff and being a devoted fan to his channel. I found out Ralph was raising money for a feature-length film called Lover. I watched the trailer and it blew my mind. I was inspired just by that trailer, and I could not wait for him to release it. He had to delay it several times, so it's amazing that it's finally out there, and it's like a crazy thing because he took so long to make it. The basic premise is that it's a creepy noir film about a troubled loner named Howard, played by Ralph himself, who meets a girl named Delilah. They form a relationship and a bond, and we soon find out that both characters have a lot of secrets that they're hiding, and a lot of chaos erupts from that, making a very interesting story and a very interesting film. I went in with pretty high expectations given how passionate he was about it and how long he took to make it. After I bought it on VOD and then watched it, I came out a little bit conflicted. It was super unconventional and very surprising, and there was a lot of decisions that the movie makes, and I wasn't sure if I was on board with those decisions because it was so unpredictable and different than what I expected, especially because Ralph did make a lot of changes during production. After a lot of thought and processing and sleeping on it, I can conclude that I really like this movie. It's definitely not for everyone though, and that shows in the reviews it's been getting on IMDb and Letterboxd. The reception has been a little bit mixed. For me, Lover is a very risky film that puts a lot of faith in the audience. It's a very slow movie, and the plot is not straightforward and will continue to confuse most viewers. There's a lot open to differing interpretations, which is something I really respected. The acting and the dialogue and the characters is actually pretty minimal when compared to something like King Candy or even his really early movie, The High. The movie has a constant aura of mysteriousness, and the characters are intentionally not fleshed out to keep that mystery. Ralph Seppi's acting in this movie is a lot more subtle than it has been in the past. In King Candy, he plays a really crazy sociopath.
Shut up! I don't have to hear your shit in my own house! Get the fuck out!
And in this movie, he plays an awkward, quiet, troubled man with a lot of layers to peel back and a lot of mystery. I thought he once again did a really good job with his acting in this movie. He clearly has genuine talent in many crafts, and acting is certainly one of them. The character was really strong and constantly unpredictable, just like the rest of the film, and the rest of the film really reflects him very well. Delilah, the other main character, the woman in this romance, has a similar vibe to her as Howard does. She's mysterious and quiet. Her actress is pretty good too. There's a few weak parts acting-wise where she tries to be emotional and can't quite pull it off realistically, but she mostly does a really good job. This is a very, very unique romance. It's nothing like any romance we've seen in a movie before, and it's portrayed extremely differently than most romances. Their relationship is intentionally uncomfortable, and you always feel like something is off between the pair of them. This is something I've heard complaints about, but I thought it was done very well personally. Like I said earlier, this film is very slow and there's many elongated sequences that feel like a silent film where there's no dialogue or really any sound. The story is mostly told through visuals and music. This, again, got on a lot of people's nerves, but I mostly found it pretty effective. I feel like there's about maybe 5 minutes they could have cut off those montages to make the pacing a little bit better, because there are times where it feels like he's trying to pad the runtime and he's trying to make the movie feature length, but it worked well mostly for me. There's just maybe 5 minutes they could have cut off those montages and those like silent sequences of just visuals. There's a constant feeling in this movie of tension and creepiness, and that's not a thing I expected. I expected it to go from happy to sad, because that's kind of how Ralph marketed it, like it goes from a romantic comedy to a dark movie. But instead, this movie is pretty much dark all the way through. It just takes a while to start moving. It starts off pretty simple, and then you start finding out that there's a lot more going on here. It was very interesting. It's handled very well by the way this movie is told. The cinematography in this movie is staggering. I think this is Ralph's best film in the cinematography department by far. I could take screenshots of all my favorite shots from this movie and make computer wallpapers out of all of them. I could make like a slideshow on my computer wallpaper of different shots of this movie, and it would look really great. There's a lot of scenes in this movie that take place at the nighttime in black and white, so that's a recipe for it to have bad visuals. It's a recipe for the camera to be really grainy and for you to not tell what's going on, but Ralph pulled it off. I know he spent a lot of money on a camera for this movie, a really nice camera to get good nighttime shots, and it works. It really works. There's hardly any grain or anything like that. It all looks very clear. The visuals and the silent storytelling combined with the music makes the movie feel very dreamlike. And I think Ralph maybe got some inspiration from something like Blade Runner, where it's just a lot of visual storytelling. Whoever scored this movie needs some praise, because the music in this film is fantastic. It's very synth, and it makes every scene feel like a dream, especially the beginning. The beginning feels like a dream. It feels like music that's good enough to be featured in a full-on Hollywood movie. Music is always important in film, but the music here is able to really elevate the material. This is a mysterious, quiet film full of montages, and it's a lot more somber than I was expecting going in. There's a lot of things that take place that I really didn't expect, so it really hit me hard at first. Like, I had to think about this movie for a while, because it's so strange and unconventional. And it's just, Ralph does that so well. He's such a unique filmmaker. His other movie, King Candy, that I talked about is basically a polar opposite to this film. It's very loud and crazy and fast-paced. It feels like an Edgar Wright film with a lot of comedy, while Lover is quiet and slow, and it's very somber. Like, Ralph used his comedy skills that he does in his videos for King Candy. This doesn't have that. This is just straight up depressing. I think Ralph is someone that could explore many different genres and make them all work. There's some problems I have with this movie. I'm not gonna fanboy on Ralph just because I'm a big fan of his content. I already explained one of the flaws. I feel like they could have cut like 5 minutes off of the slow atmospheric stuff, the slow visual stuff, to make the pacing a little bit better. I say only 5 minutes because I like the slow pace a lot. I just feel it needs to be a little bit more concise with the pacing. There's also another flaw in this movie that is very spoiler heavy, so I'm going to try to explain it without explaining the spoilers, without spoiling anything. There's a point in this movie where it takes a very big turn that changes the tone and almost the whole genre of the entire movie. The movie becomes very different after this tonal shift, and I wanted to see them go into that tonal shift even more. There's several times where they go into something really interesting and it's cut short, and I feel like they could have gone all the way with this tonal change, and it left me wanting more of it. It left me wanting more of the payoff that this movie offers. If you've seen the movie, you hopefully know what I'm talking about. It's something that I felt could have been delved into a bit deeper, this whole different tonal shift, and left me wanting more. There's also a few parts with audio issues regarding some inconsistencies and some bad ADR, and there's some acting that could have been a bit better, but this is a student film, so it makes sense. Considering how good this movie was while being balanced with Ralph's college life and YouTube life, I think the entire crew did a great job. If I had to give some sort of score for this movie, I guess I'd go with like an 8 or a 7 out of 10. But who really cares about the score? I really enjoyed the movie. It doesn't really matter what the score is, it's just that I enjoyed the movie and I recommend it. If you're watching this, Ralph, because I know you've been watching a lot of reviews for this movie and that's really cool to me, I just want to say keep doing what you're doing. I'm really excited to see what you do next, and your channel means a lot to me. Keep kicking ass and keep inspiring so many people. You've inspired a lot of people, and you probably already know this, but, you know, it's very true.
9 winners of the Cheesies Challenge? No wonder he called my company.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this video. If you're interested in some of my other work, you can check out my 25-minute short film called Paul. The link is in the description. Or you can check out some other good videos of mine that I've also left in the description if you're new here. Also, check out Ralphthemoviemaker's channel. The link for that is also in the description, so you can see how much I copied him with my past videos. I stole a lot of his jokes, and I stole a lot of his things in my videos, but, yeah. Also, buy Lover on video on demand because it's really good stuff, and it's pretty damn cheap. It's only $5. Alright, bye everybody. Thanks for watching.
They said it was just gonna be an easy grab. Well, it ain't no easy grab. They got teeth.